What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another review. This time, we're going to be taking a look at Carrie, the 2013 remake directed by Kimberly Pierce, starring Chloe Grace Moretz and Julianne Moore. And I don't really have a whole lot to say about the Carrie remake, mainly because this movie, beat for beat, is literally a beat for beat remake of the original 1976 movie. With the only difference is that it takes place in a more modern setting as opposed to the original movie, which takes place in a 70s setting. So, yeah, story of Carrie. Pretty much, you know the deal. Don't have to explain it. But let's just talk about how this remake tells the story, I guess, in a more modern template. Overall, I think this is a solid remake. It's not horrible. But this movie's main thing is that it doesn't really do anything with the source material. Doesn't take it in any new directions. Doesn't really do anything creative with it. It just follows the same basic template. Um, Production wise, I think this movie looks fine. I thought Kimberly Pierce did a good job behind the director's chair. She's no Brian De Palma, but she's not bad either. Cinematography in this movie, it's fine. It's not as good as the original movie, but it's fine for what this movie does. The use of practical effects in this movie are not too bad. The special effects in this movie, the CGI, it's pretty good as well. So from a production standpoint, this movie is fine. From an acting standpoint, I thought the actors in the remake are much better than the actors in the original movie. I thought Chloe Grace Moretz did a fine job playing Carrie. She's no Sissy Spacek, who I thought was better in the role, but Chloe, she did a good job at playing a more modern version. No, I liked her a lot. Julianne Moore, light years better than Piper Laurie as Margaret White. I thought Julianne Moore brought that right amount of just scary sinisterness to her character, but at the same time, you can actually feel a genuine love that she has for her daughter as well. I never got any of that with Margaret White at all. In the original Carrie movie, it looked like she just didn't like her daughter at all. But Julianne Moore's Margaret White, I actually feel that genuinely loves her daughter, while at the same time being this over the top religious nut. But Julianne Moore never really hams it up. She keeps it very very dialed down, and it makes her more scary as a character. So I love that. Julianne Moore to me is the best part of this movie, along with Moretz. And the supporting cast is fine as well. Judy Greer plays Ms. Desjardins, Carrie's gym teacher. I thought Judy Greer was fine in the role. She's a very underrated actress, and she made Ms. Desjardins very likable. The girls who played the bullies, I thought they all did a fine job. The actress who played who played Chris is a first class cunt because she films Carrie having her period, then has the audacity to post it online. That's the definition of a modern day bully scumbag bitch. And the actress played the character of Chris to perfection in terms of making her a detestable cunt. So that's actually cool because I was rooting for her death the entire movie because she was such a bitch. The actress who plays Sue Snell, I thought she was fine as well. She doesn't really have a whole lot to do. They have this subplot with her getting pregnant by Tommy Ross, which doesn't really add anything to the plot, doesn't really add anything to her character at all anyway either. But the actress, I thought she was decent enough. She was okay. The actor who played Tommy Ross, I actually, same thing with William Catt. The actor who played Tommy Ross, I thought did a good job at making Tommy Ross into a very, very likable guy. And when Tommy and Carrie get together for the prom, I actually like these two actors together. They got a genuine rapport with one another. I like it a lot. I thought the prom scene in this movie is much more vicious and much more violent as opposed to the original movie, which is what I like. Like if this same kind of vicious and violence was in the original movie, along with Brian De Palma's directing in that original movie, then that original prom scene would have been taken to the next level. But it's in this movie, and I like it for what it is. Though to me, Kimberly Pierce didn't use that, suspense that De Palma brought to his prom night scene, which is where I think that this movie, like Pierce's prom scene, beat for beat mimics a slasher movie, which is fine. I love slasher movies, but it doesn't have that suspense or tension that De Palma brought his prom scene. If she would have took a little bit of that and put it to hers, then I think her prom scene would have exceeded his. But for what it is, they're two distinct different scenes. De Palma was more suspense and tense ridden. Kimberly Pierce is much more visceral and in your face. So the two, they're both well done to begin with, but if this new one would have had more of that suspense tension, it would have been it would have been like light years better than the original movie, my opinion. I thought the ending in this movie was much better handled as opposed to how it was in the original movie, or I thought Piper Laurie was just too hammy, and her death scene was just felt like she was just having the best sex of her life. In this one, not even close to that ham nonsense. Julianne Moore's death scene in this movie is much more tragic to me. She plays it more straightforward, and I genuinely feel sorry when Carrie kills her mother, and the genuine grief that Carrie feels just grieving over her mother. It's a nice scene. I like it a lot. What I do not like is the overall ending of this movie, where everything is pretty much where Sue Snell's in the court recounting the events of the prom massacre, which is fine. I just don't like the fact that they hammered the point that bullying is bad, and if you do this, you can create someone else, another Carrie White. We kind of get the message that bullying is no good. We see what these girls did to Carrie. We see what happens when you push somebody so far. They're gonna snap and they're gonna strike back in a more violent way than you can ever imagine. We get that. We don't need that message spelled out. And on top of it, I hate the ending of this movie. I hate the ending of this movie, where we go to Carrie's gravesite and the tombstone starts to crack and you hear Carrie scream, all while punk rock music is playing. The original movie, that ending felt much more tragic and more genuinely scary when the hand pops out and you get that great Pino Donaggio music playing, and then you get that nice, very somber score at the end of the credits instead of this punk rock music, which is just so typical with modern day horror movies that they gotta do that. I hate it so much. I don't like it at all. Yeah, so overall, I think the Carrie remake is a solid movie. It's one of the better remakes to be out there. It's not bad. It's actually pretty good for what it is. I like it a lot, though it doesn't add anything new to the material. Yes, it updates it in a lot of areas, but overall, it doesn't really do much to stand out on its own by taking the source material in a different direction and kind of being its own thing. It's just a modern update, and that's pretty much what it is, which is why I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. It's a good remake. You got good acting in this movie. You got some good visuals, but overall, doesn't do anything to differentiate itself from the original movie, which to me is a more superior movie with the elements of that movie. But if you were to take the Julianne Moore character in this one and apply it to the original movie, that original movie would have been a 10. But whatever. 7 out of 10 for Carrie remake. My thoughts. Anyway, so those are my thoughts on the Carrie remake. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. Do you like it? Do you hate it? I would like to know. Also, if you guys want to see my original review of Carrie, I'll post a link in both the description box and in the comment sections as well. Anyway, my name's AJ Legend, and I will check you back next time for more.